Hello, welcome to the Ben Gregersen Show. Tonight, I would like to continue our discussion about global warming. We discussed global warming last week and how it is a hoax and that it's been proven a hoax through emails that have been made between scientists. Scientists were emailing back and forth to each other at East Anglia University, and they're basically having email conversations about manipulating climate data and coming up with false models to prove their global warming theory. So we've got the facts that the global warming scientists have been manipulating the data in order to make people think that there's man-made global warming. One thing I'd like to discuss is how many of you out there know what percentage of CO2 comes from man? Ask yourself that question. A lot of liberals would probably say all of it, but no. Only 0.1% of CO2 comes from man. The rest of it comes from the planet. It comes from volcanoes, it comes from a whole number of different things. But folks, not even 1% of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere comes from mankind. Are you telling me that less than 1% of CO2 in the atmosphere is going to cause the destruction of our civilization and the destruction of our world itself? No, that's silly. That's stupid. I don't know why so many people believe it. And it's funny because everything on the planet naturally produces carbon dioxide. Everything. And we humans, we produce 0.1% of the carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. I believe that humans are natural to this planet. There is a human element to the earth. We belong to this planet just as much as the squirrels do. One thing liberal school teachers and liberals in general will try to get you to believe is that humans are somehow unnatural, that we don't belong to the planet. And I'm telling you tonight that is false. We as humans belong to this planet just as much as everything else does. And if everything else on the planet has a right to produce carbon dioxide, so do we. And it's kind of funny because in grade school, they actually teach you that carbon dioxide is good for the planet. They teach you that the plants feed on carbon dioxide and create oxygen. So carbon dioxide is important to our planet, and it is the reason we have air to breathe, because the plants feed on it and then they produce oxygen. And then you get to high school and they start teaching you how terrible carbon dioxide is for the earth. Isn't that funny? They teach you how great carbon dioxide is in grade school, and then you get to high school and they teach you how terrible it is. Oh my gosh, this CO2, it's going to destroy us all. You know, sometimes I wonder if these liberals know the difference between carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is poisonous. And if carbon monoxide was going up in the atmosphere, that would kill us. But we're not putting carbon monoxide in the atmosphere. We're putting carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And carbon dioxide is actually good for our planet. So I just think that the whole global warming thing is a hoax. And I'll tell you what, the whole global warming theory is political. And it's part of the socialist agenda. All global warming is about is demonizing capitalism. The whole global warming theory exists to teach people how terrible capitalism is, how terrible business is. I remember in high school teachers showing us cartoons and stuff that showed the evil corporations, the evil businesses are polluting the planet and they're going to kill us all. And how capitalism is evil. And if we want to save our planet, we've got to get rid of capitalism. And it's funny because what's their substitute for capitalism in order to save the planet? Their substitute is socialism. See, global warming is all about advancing the socialist agenda. And I think that it's quite disturbing. And you got guys out there like Al Gore promoting this global warming business. Al Gore, of course, claims that the ocean's going to rise 20 feet if the ice caps melt, which is a lie because science has actually proven that if the ice caps melt, that the oceans will only rise 5 inches. And I'm sorry, but 5 inches of water isn't going to destroy all these cities and destroy the planet and all this terrible stuff that Al Gore is warning of. And I'll tell you why. I want to tell you why the ocean would only rise 5 inches if... Hello, welcome to the Ben Gregersen Show.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I saw in the paper this week that Roger Chase is taking Blad to task about Blad's not fixing the streets right, and Roger can do a much better job if we can get him elected.
Well, I actually read that article, and I thought it was really funny because Roger says, when I was mayor, the streets were our top priority. And we put those streets at the top of the list, and we repaved so many streets a year. And it was funny because I actually really loved Mayor Blad's response to that. Mayor Blad says, Roger, we are fixing and repaving just as many roads as you were when you were mayor. The only difference is we're not repaving the same road every year.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
Oh, it is true, because I remember when I was younger, actually just when Roger was mayor, that road in front of my house got repaved every year. And I thought, my goodness, this concrete, this pavement on the road, it's got to last longer than 1 year. No, this has got to be the worst.
I don't think that ever happened. Bye.
Actually, folks, it did happen. And Mayor Blad explained why it happened. And it happened because businesses and stuff would have to, have lines in the road. Those lines under the road would have to be fed into their business. And in order to do that, you have to tear the road up. See, what Roger would do is he would go and pave the streets right before they had to tear it up, in order to feed that line into the businesses. So it was a waste of money. Roger would pave the roads. Then the city would have to tear the roads up. And then after the new road is torn up, then the city would have to come and repave it again. It was a big waste of money, and it was Roger paving the exact same streets over and over again. I swear, the only streets that were paved when Roger was mayor was the main highway that goes through the middle of town. South 5th and Yellowstone, that big long road that goes clear out to Chubbuck. The center of town where all the stoplights and stuff are. And where Fred Meyer's and everything is. That main road going through the city was the only road that was paved. And Roger paved it over and over again. And while Roger was repaving those roads, the rest of the roads in Pocatello were falling apart. Roger was neglecting all these neighborhood streets and, all these side roads, were all being neglected. None of them were really being fixed or repaved. Roger was just focused on repaving Yellowstone over and over again, every year, or every couple months that road was repaved. It was terrible. So you got Blad, he's actually being smart when he fixes the roads because he's repaving those neighborhood streets and side streets, and he's giving them the repairs that they need. And he's still repaving Yellowstone and stuff, but the difference is he's not repaving Yellowstone every year. You don't need to repave a road every year. Pavement should last a lot longer than that. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. But I want to get back to global warming. I mentioned that Al Gore said that has claimed that the ocean will rise 20 feet if the ice caps melt, and that's just a big lie. The truth is that the ocean would only rise 5 inches. And the reason why that is that there really isn't a lot of water in ice. When you freeze water, when it turns to ice, the water expands. That's why that ice is so big, is it's expanding. But when you melt it, there's really not a lot of water there. I'll give you an example. Have any of you ever melted an ice cube? How much water is actually in that ice cube? Not very much, just a tiny, tiny little bit. There's really not a lot of water in an ice cube. And it's the same thing here. It's the same thing with the ice caps. There's really not all that much there. That is why the ocean will only rise 5 inches. I actually want to show you guys a video. Oh, hello, welcome to the Ben Gregersen Show.
Hi, Ben. I know you're not talking about this, but I'm interested in learning a little bit about the flat tax. What do you know about the flat tax?
Oh, the flat tax. Basically what that is that the government would tax everybody by the same percentage. So everybody would be taxed by 10% or 12%, whatever they set it at. So everybody would pay the exact same tax rate.
Is that an additional tax, or is it on top of what we've already got?
No, that would be your income tax. See, right now we have a progressive tax system. Depending on whatever income you have, your tax percentage goes up. But what this is everybody is paying, let's just say everybody's paying 10%. That's what the flat tax is. And what I actually love about the flat tax is how fair it is. I mean, if you think about it, everybody could pay 10% of their income to the government. And why not? I think 10% is a great idea. If I were to set up a flat tax, I would set it up as 10% because, as we all know, God asks for 10%. So if 10% is good enough for God, why couldn't it be good enough for us?
Oh, that's one way to look at it. Yeah, well, I didn't know whether it was an additional tax or just how it was going to work, but, well, 10%, it may ended up being a lot more than that, though. You never know. Well,
it could be. But you'd want to keep the taxes low, obviously, because that keeps the economy strong.
Mm-hmm.
So I think 10% is a great number.
So what happens with
but
people
even
who are on welfare?
On welfare?
Yeah, what do they pay 10% of their welfare? What happens with that?
I don't think they would. if they didn't have a job and they were just receiving government money, obviously they don't got any real income coming in. But here's the thing. I don't think you'd see as many people on welfare. Because if you had a flat tax, the economy would explode in this country. I think you'd see most people with a job. You know, you wouldn't have the 50% of people that are on government welfare and subsidies that you have today.
So how would that affect it?
How would that affect the economy?
Yeah. Well, so that there'd be more jobs.
Well, because I don't know if you know this, but right now people, most like rich people, they're the people that hire people to work. You know, you can't hire somebody to work for you unless you got money, right?
That's right.
Well, rich people right now, some of them are paying 70% taxes rather than 10% taxes.
Oh, I see how it goes.
So their taxes would go down.
Yeah, so they'd have more money to put back into the economy and to hire people.
Yes. Here's the thing is 10% is like, well, let's look at it this way. Poor people, 10% for them isn't very much, is it?
Well, maybe not.
10% of their income? So if they had $10, that would be $1. So in the end, they really wouldn't be paying that high of taxes. But for a rich person, 10% would be a lot more.
Well, yeah, it would be.
But it would be a cheap...
the economy, so that'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, it would be. And like I explained in a previous show, the government actually receives more revenue when taxes are low. More money comes into the government when taxes are low. Mm-hmm. And a flat tax would be a tax cut. And it would be fair because everyone is paying the same percentage.
No, that sounds to me like it'd work pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, right now you got 50% of the country not paying taxes at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, that makes it hard because then the only people that are paying, well, people that are working and have jobs, you know, they're having to pay their taxes. But the biggest share is the people that are, you know, that are making the jobs available.
Yeah.
To the people, so they're the ones that get hit the hardest.
Yep.
So that's good. Well, I'm glad to find out what your idea was on that. I got a thing to vote on it the other day. It came in the mail, you know, a petition to vote on it. And I thought I didn't really understand that much about it, whether how to vote for it.
Yeah.
But I know they're trying to put it through.
Mm-hmm.
So I should vote for it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm going to do.
Yep, the flat tax would be wonderful for our country. In fact, I don't think there's a better tax out there.
Yeah. I can't remember which president it was that was trying to get it through.
Ronald Reagan.
Oh, Ronald Reagan. Yeah, I remember somebody was because I heard about it a long time ago.
Yeah, and even George Hansen.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't Jimmy Carter.
No. Nope, it wasn't him.
Nope. Yeah, and George Hansen was for it too.
Yeah, he was actually one of the first people in Congress to promote it.
Oh, yeah. Well, a good guy.
Yep.
Yep, I'll say. Well, I thought I'd just give you a buzz and see what your thinking was on that, whether I should fill this out or not.
Yep.
Okay, I'll do it.
All right. Yeah, do it.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. It's a good cause. The flat tax is what our nation needs. You guys realize if we had a flat tax in this country that we'd already be out of this recession? In fact, if we had a flat tax in this country years ago, I doubt we would even be in this recession. That's how amazing the flat tax is. And the flat tax is exactly what America needs. Now, back to global warming. As I said earlier, I believe the global warming theory is basically there to demonize capitalism and to bring in the socialist agenda. I actually want to show you guys a video tonight.
If I wanted America to fail, to follow, not lead, to suffer, not prosper, to despair, not dream, I'd start with energy. I'd cut off America's supply of cheap, abundant energy. I couldn't take it by force, so I'd make Americans feel guilty about using the energy that heats their homes, fuels their cars, runs their businesses, and powers their economy. I'd make cheap energy expensive, so that expensive energy would seem cheap. I would empower unelected bureaucrats to all but outlaw America's most abundant sources of energy. And after banning its use in America, I'd make it illegal for American companies to ship it overseas. If I wanted America to fail, I'd use their schools to teach one generation of Americans that their factories and their cars will cause a new ice age. And I'd muster a straight face so I could teach the next generation that they're causing global warming. When it's cold out, I'd call it climate change instead. I'd imply that America's cities and factories would run on wind power and wishes. I'd teach children how to ignore the hypocrisy of condemning logging, mining, and farming while having roofs over their heads, heat in their homes, and food on their tables. I would never teach children that the free market is the only force in human history to uplift the poor, establish the middle class, and create lasting prosperity. Instead, I demonize prosperity itself so that they will not miss what they will never have. If I wanted America to fail, I would create countless new regulations and seldom cancel old ones that would be so complicated that only bureaucrats, lawyers, and lobbyists could understand them. That way small businesses with big ideas wouldn't stand a chance. And I would never have to worry about another Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, or Steve Jobs. I would ridicule as flat earthers those who urge them to lower energy costs by increasing supply. And when the evangelists of common sense try to remind people about the laws of supply and demand, I'd enlist a sympathetic media to drown them out. If I wanted America to fail, I would empower unaccountable bureaucracy seated in a distant capital to bully Americans out of their dreams and their property rights. I'd send federal agents to raid guitar factories for using the wrong kind of wood. I'd force homeowners to tear down their own homes built on their own land. I'd make it almost impossible for farmers to farm, miners to mine, loggers to log, and builders to build. Because I don't believe in free markets, I'd invent false ones. I'd devise fictitious products like carbon credits and trade them in imaginary markets. I'd convince people that this would create jobs and be good for the economy. If I wanted America to fail, for every concern I'd invent a crisis, and for every crisis I'd invent the cause, like shutting down entire industries and killing tens of thousands of jobs in the name of saving spotted owls. And when everyone learned the stunning irony that the owls were victims of their larger cousins and not people, it would already be decades too late. If I wanted America to fail, I'd make it easier to stop commerce than to start it, easier to kill jobs than create them, more fashionable to resent success than to seek it. When industries seek to create jobs, I'd file lawsuits to stop them, and then I'd make taxpayers pay for my lawyers. If I wanted America to fail, I would transform the environmental agenda from a document of conservation to an economic suicide pact. I would concede entire industries to our economic rivals by imposing regulations that cost trillions. I would celebrate those who preach environmental austerity in public while indulging a lavish lifestyle in private. I convince Americans that Europe has it right and that America has it wrong. If I wanted America to fail, I would prey on the goodness and the decency of ordinary Americans. I would only need to convince them that all of this is for the greater good. If I wanted America to fail, I I suppose I wouldn't change a thing.
I love that video. It's fantastic, and you could look it up. It's called If I Wanted America to Fail. It's on YouTube. It's great, and everything that's in that video is true. All of it. And global warming really is all about demonizing capitalism. That's why the theory is trumped up by liberals, and we know now that the scientists were manipulating scientific data in order to convince people that global warming was real. They were hiding certain data that would make people question global warming, and they were manipulating data and making their models, their global warming models. And what's funny is we know now that all of those global warming models that these scientists were making, they're all fake. All of them. They're all tampered with. They're a hoax. And this hoax has been perpetuated upon the American people. And we got liberal teachers out there teaching kids that they're unnatural to the environment. They're saying, we humans are not natural. You need to feel guilty for ruining our planet. You need to feel guilty for putting carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, even though the rest of the planet produces more carbon dioxide than you do. See, it's okay for the planet to produce carbon dioxide, but it's not okay for you kids and your parents to produce carbon dioxide. Why? Because you are unnatural. Humans are unnatural. That's what they teach kids. They kind of teach kids that they don't belong to the planet, and that we are ruining this planet because we do not belong to it. And I think that is wrong, and I think that is disturbing. I'm going to put up the phone number so I could get some telephone calls. Please call in, and if you have any questions about what we've discussed tonight, please call. I just want you to know, though, that I know that my country is an amazing country. Our country was established on principles of freedom. Our Constitution was established to keep our country free. Our Constitution was established to limit the size of government. Now, I got to tell you, global warming, that is going to grow the government. See, global warming is there to advance big government. Cap and trade, all of these things that these Democrats put out there to fight global warming, all of these things grow government. They give the government more and more power over our lives.